My issue with Michelin is it seems so Eurocentric. Are they racist or are they cuisinist? Because there are black chefs that have Michelin stars. There's 4 in the US.
4?
4 in the US. And the black chefs that did have Michelin stars were doing Japanese and Eurocentric styles. Tatiana was the #1 restaurant in New York by the New York Times 2 years in a row. Nothing from Michelin. Dakar in New Orleans. Nothing from Michelin. Kabawa racking up accolades left and right. Nothing for Michelin. That's wild. Make it make sense. Make it make sense because it makes no sense to me.
Respect your ambition, Willie, but you got to have vision.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. moving, still moving. Subscribe without trying. Let's talk about this. We need our own awards. Or just not be concerned about the validation of white people. And show you something. Like, I got this, O'Shea. He made this awards back in the day. And I remember Alan Roger Curry, rest in peace to him. I remember him saying the same thing I'm thinking right now. He was like, he never got an award for all of his writings his whole life. And Negro Manosphere Awards was the first thing, like, and it was very touching and sentimental. And that's why I'm kind of choked up now, because I'm always keep these things with me. They mean something. Just in the principle of it, Shout out to O'Shea, man. But in the concept of sometimes we need to pat each other on the back. And let me give you a backstory. He used to talk about this. With the Negro Manosphere in general, he had the website. And he was thinking about, was it Return of Kings? And there was another one, but Return of Kings was the thing. And he was like, man, kind of a merger. He wanted this stuff like that. Not a merger, but he wanted stuff like that. And I was like, man, it don't have to be like that. All it have to be is yours. And part of that ideology that he put into practical application, that's actually a big part of the Black Manosphere too. This idea that we don't have to fit in. And that's part of just Black American culture, FBA culture. And I'm gonna say this just as a caveat. Shout out to Tariq Nasheed. I remember him doing the Coon Awards, but I think he has so much respect in the community. I think he probably needs to do a FBA Awards. Just put that out there. But when people would play that game, we don't have a culture. Really, our culture is innovation. That's really Black American culture. It's just transformed in different time periods, but it's rooted in innovation. Necessity is the mother of invention, and we were put in this country. We were always put in a position that we were the canaries in the coal mine of what the necessities that America needs. And then that's where all the other artistic stuff came from. But as she was saying, Michelin star. Why? Why? If you really want to be honest, most of Europe can't cook. There you go. Most of Europe can't cook. There it is. It is what it is. And especially when it comes to Black cooks, Black chefs, Black America, especially in the food industry, in America, we're a huge portion of it. People just go fried chicken. No, fried chicken, yes. Barbecue, yes. Pretty much the sides of America, us. You get what I'm saying? the different forms of cooking, because people play this game because you have Southern cuisine is one thing. You have Louisiana cuisine, New Orleans, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles. That's a whole thing to itself. You know, you have, like I said, the barbecue goes from Texas up to Chicago, out to, I would say, the Carolinas. Then you have, you know, how can I put this? Then you have us dabbling in other people's foods. You know, that's why us in Italian food, and just like Italians have some of use some of our cooking methods from time to time. Might sound crazy, but it is what it is. You know, that's why I said New Orleans is a completely different thing, because New Orleans, you would say, is a mix of black, Italian, black, French, Italian, now Vietnamese. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole different thing. By the way, I got to get me a king cake from the Reddits. Lord have mercy. Anyway, but this concept of black people need a Michelin star. No, we don't. A lot of people, a lot of the foods in America that are popularized now are really black foods. Truth be told, So and even at these upscale restaurants, don't get it twisted. Like, and I say this in this way: most of the seafood cuisine is all Southern. Don't ever get that, because people fishing. No, people ain't fishing like that in other places. So the concept of all the different types of foods, fish in America, from let's say the coast, the Carolinas, all the way to the Gulf. Like even in Forrest Gump, Bubba Gump was the shrimp man, right? So when you think of white food, you up northeast, clam chowder, you know, lobster up there or whatever. But seafood boils, that's us. That's us. The hog, the gator, coon, like all of the weird meats that people think about. A lot of that's us. Not some of that is Cajuns too, because like especially in New Orleans culture, Creole is black, Cajun is white. Cajun comes from like Acadian. That's like white people from Nova Scotia who moved to Louisiana or whatever. Creole is black, okay, and it ain't light skinned, by the way. But using that to say this, a lot of the popularized things in America, food, is from black culture. A lot of the popularized dishes, a lot of the dishes, you know, um, like, okay, let me do it this way. You go to a restaurant nowadays, they pretty much do burgers, which is not that's from hamburger, so it's either Dutch or German or something like that. It's burgers, wings, and they fried, so it's fried wings, fried seafood. What am I missing? A fusion of soul food slash Asian food, and I'm missing another dang on thing. I'm missing something in the sides. Somebody's and barbecue. That's what it is. So this idea that people need a Michelin star, no, you need the people to like your stuff. That's all you need, is the people to like your stuff. And I say that to say this: a lot of these upscale restaurants, they can't cook. Like we gotta, as black people, we gotta go. Okay, maybe they needed like a Keith Lee Awards for cooking, or I forgot, Chime Time Awards or something like that. Because true be told, a lot of people can't cook, and that's why it's crazy to say this publicly per se. That's why when black people dabble in foods of other cultures, we eat certain and particular things. We just we get this. We just gonna stay right here. We're not going outside of that framework because when we go outside of that framework, something's off. But this idea, like do you need that? Do we need Michelin? Man, them high tier restaurants can't cook. You go to a lot of these steakhouses, can't cook. A lot of these, oh, this is hoity toity, can't cook. We got this with this, and the ones that can cook, basically they're seasoning like black folks in a quote unquote 5-star restaurant, and they're not black. That's it. 9 times out of 10, people go for the drinks. So I say we need to have our own awards, and I'm using food as a reference, and I use the Black Manosphere, the Negro Manosphere Awards as a reference. But that's the same thing like in Hollywood. BET learned that. Soul Train learned that. Like we have our own awards. Back in the day, y'all forget about Miss Black America. That was running for like 50 years. And now when you say, we got a lot of rich black people who can pull this stuff off, we see less of that vision. And I'm just a person that say maybe we need to give ourselves our own awards. Because a Michelin star don't mean much. It doesn't put extra money in your pocket. Just like when black actors will win a Oscar, that doesn't necessarily that doesn't make you it didn't add to your paycheck. The box office did. Same thing, artists who won Grammys. That don't add to your paycheck. The ticket sales and the album sales do. See, the awards is rigged in a sense. Get the people. The people are the award, and since we're the people, we need to start giving out our own awards to our own people because they ain't gonna never get a fair shake with these other groups of people. And these other groups of people, they got their own awards for themselves because it is what it is. But that's my 2 cents, man. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.